Nick Walker is the biggest threat to Big Ramy this year. No, those are not my words. That was actually the results of a poll I did recently. You guys voted Nick Walker as the biggest threat to Big Ramy this year. In this video, we will be discussing Nick Walker as well as the other top threats to Big Ramy, and I will be giving you guys my unfiltered opinion, as well as how I think these guys stack up against each other. You guys are free to argue with me in the comment section below. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So I noticed with Nick Walker, you either absolutely love him, or some people actually seem to hate him. Some people think he can win the Olympia, he'll even be top 2 this year. And then on the other end, you have people that think he won't even be in the top 5 this year. It's crazy, but there are a lot of guys saying that, and actually under that poll, the main argument was Nick Walker is overrated, and I don't see why he gets so much hype. People still call him the Frizz, they still talk about the veins, but Nick Walker is the 2021 New York Pro Champion as well as Arnold Classic. And whether you like Nick or not, he is one of the best bodybuilders in our sport. Now, comparing him to some of the other guys in the top 5, he definitely has to get the rematch between him and Hunter Labrada. A lot of people think he should have placed higher than Hunter last year. I personally believe Nick Walker can beat Hadi Choopan. That may be a tough take for a lot of you guys, but if you don't remember, Hadi was actually so small at the prejudging last year, he was getting compared for 6th, maybe even 7th. I believe Nick Walker could possibly outsize him. He doesn't bring as good conditioning as Hadi, but Nick definitely comes in peeled. Now, Nick Walker would definitely struggle with Brandon Curry. Brandon is very aesthetic. He looks good in every single shot, and he will also make Nick look a bit blocky. Do I think Nick Walker will be as high as top 2 this year? It's 100% possible, but if I had to bet my money on it right now, I would not bet that Nick Walker is the biggest threat to Big Ramy. And the second biggest threat to Big Ramy this year, voted for by the subscribers of the channel, is Hadi Choopan. And Hadi is always a threat to the title. As we know, guys tend to come in off. Ramy came off last year. Brandon Curry has been off at the Arnold Classic. But Hadi always seems to be on and bring his trademark conditioning. He usually just struggles with coming in too shredded on the first day, sacrificing a lot of fullness. Now, I've discussed this a lot in my recent videos. I honestly believe Hadi Choopan is getting outsized. Him and Hadi Choopan don't want to put on too much more size because Hadi is already called blocky, and Hadi doesn't want to blow out his midsection as well. Top to bottom, one of the best physiques on the stage, always the most conditioned guy on the stage. Overall, I just think he gets outsized, especially from the side. Taking nothing away from Hadi Choopan at all, but I was noticing that Brandon Curry does have smaller legs. Brandon always gets knocks for the legs, and when they're side by side, Brandon's legs look about the same size as Hadi Choopan. Now, I could be tripping, I could get unsubbed, disliked, but that's just my honest analysis. If Hadi was a little bit bigger, I think he would stack up a lot better. And then we have all the accusations about the SCO and the oil. I personally believe that Hadi Choopan has scar tissue. He works with Honey around, but I'm pretty sure that Honey wouldn't have him pumping his shoulders full of oil. And that's just my personal take on that and my honest take. Do I think Hadi Choopan will be top 2 at this year's Mr. Olympia? Is Hadi Choopan the biggest threat to Big Ramy? If I had to bet on it once again, I personally do not think that Hadi Choopan is the biggest threat to Big Ramy. Hadi Choopan would definitely be in the mix, but top 2, I would not bet on it right now. And very surprisingly, the third biggest threat to Big Ramy this year, voted for by you guys, is Andrew Jack. Wow. Now, Andrew Jack definitely shocked the world at this 2022 Texas Pro making his pro debut. Honestly, in the front double, front leg spread, and the ab and thigh, this guy can probably stand with anyone. He's almost unbeatable in those shots. Now, you guys have heard my critiques of Andrew Jack. I would like to see more detail, more separation in the side leg as well as the hamstrings. Now, going into this Arnold Classic UK, he should come in a lot better. And once we see him at this Arnold, we'll really be able to gauge how he'll stack up in this Olympia lineup. And Andrew is a very hard guy to gauge just because he has that crazy wow factor. As we seen in Texas, there were a couple of guys that had better body parts than Andrew, better back, maybe better hamstrings, but his structure is just so amazing, it didn't matter. So I really can't say if he's the biggest threat to Big Ramy this year. Since we've been talking about betting, if I had to bet on it, I would not say that he's going to be top 2 at this year's Olympia, but the sky's the limit for this guy. I absolutely have no idea because he looks incredible, and you can't take your eyes off him on stage, so who knows, guys? Andrew Jack could very well be in the mix. I counted him out for the Texas Pro, so I would not count this guy out again. I honestly have no idea how Andrew would do at this year's Olympia. This guy is just a genetic freak. And you never know, guys. You never know. And the fourth biggest threat to Big Ramy is William Bonac. And I'm actually a little bit disappointed in you guys that you guys think William Bonac is this low. And I'm proud of you guys that actually voted for William Bonac. Now, as we all know, he pushed Brandon Curry very hard at this year's Arnold Classic, arguably beat Brandon Curry. Now, something that you guys have to remember, prior to Big Ramy winning his first Olympia title in 2020, he did the Arnold Classic that same year, where he would place third behind William Bonac and Dexter Jackson. So William Bonac beat Ramy in the same year that he won the title. And William has beat Ramy a lot of times actually, but granted, he has not beat Ramy since he won that title. And I'm pretty sure William Bonac is looking forward to the rematch between him and Brandon Curry, but this time Bonac doesn't have the gyno. And Bonac is the biggest he's ever been in any offseason, not having any midsection issues, and also has already done a gyno surgery. So I think that he will have Brandon Curry's number at this year's Olympia, and if I had to bet on it, I would bet that William Bonac is the biggest threat to Big Ramy this year. If I had to bet right now, I would place my money on William Bonac to be second at this year's Olympia. Let me know what you guys think about that. And remember that William Bonac was able to bring this physique to the Arnold Classic while only working with Chad Nichols starting at 6 weeks out. So William and Chad have had a full offseason to grow and plan going into this year's Olympia. Chad Nichols, once again, the coach of Big Ramy and the former coach of Ronnie Coleman. I think William Bonac is definitely going to be a force at this year's Olympia. And I think a lot of people are forgetting about him already, but the Conqueror will wake some people up very, very soon, guys. And voted for by the subscribers on the channel, Brandon Curry is the guy that Big Ramy has to be worried about the least, former Mr. Olympia. Now, I'm not going to lie, at first I was knocking Brandon as well, saying, this may be the year that he slips. But I did hear that Brandon is a guy that transforms very quick. If you guys don't know, Kevin LeBron used to take multiple months off out of a year, and he used to blow up very, very fast, and I've heard Brandon Curry can do the same. Brandon Curry is very, very dangerous in every single pose. Front double, front leg, side shots, back shots, ab and thigh. Definitely going to be the best every time he's on stage. And I think it's going to be very, very hard for Hadi Choopan, Hunter Labrada, or Nick Walker to beat Brandon Curry. Brandon has aesthetics on his side. Nick Walker as well as Hadi Choopan are often called blocky bodybuilders, and Brandon is definitely going to stand out next to them. Also, Brandon doesn't have to be 270, 280. I wouldn't be surprised if he's 240, maybe even 250 on stage. Brandon has that crazy roundness which just makes him look so big. So pairing that with the tiny waist, and we have to remember he is a former Mr. Olympia. So you aren't just going to push him over, you're going to have to knock him out. They're just not going to give you an easy win over Brandon Curry. If I had to bet on it right now, I would say that Brandon Curry and William Bonac are probably going to be fighting it out for second place at this year's Olympia. And no, I did not forget about Hunter Labrada. On the poll, I only had room to put 5 people, and I figured more people would vote for Andrew Jack than Hunter Labrada. Now, Hunter definitely has to be considered as a threat to winning the title because he placed 4th last year. We talked about Nick Walker, who was 5th, who was actually beat by all of these guys in this video, except Andrew Jack. Now, in all honesty, I could only see Hunter Labrada possibly beating a guy like Nick Walker. I think as far as all the other guys, he would really struggle. Hunter has a smaller waist than Nick Walker, and as you guys can see here, he has incredible presentation, and plus his last name is Labrada. But this actually was from the Chicago Pro, where he looked a little bit better than the Mr. Olympia. And something else, Nick Walker struggles in the lat spreads. Hunter Labrada doesn't have the best lat spreads, but I definitely think he could get the best of Nick Walker. Whereas when he would try to compare to Hadi, Brandon, or Ramy on the lat spreads, that would be a completely different story. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about Hunter's physique? Is he underrated? A lot of people think Hunter and Ian Valliere are going to slip in placings at this year's Mr. Olympia. But this was my raw, unfiltered analysis on all of these guys. I hope you guys did indeed enjoy it. And I didn't mention how any of these guys would actually stack up against Big Ramy. But as long as Big Ramy nails his conditioning, I personally believe it will be a fight for second place. I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Krishan from Goat Fitness, and I'm out.